Alright, here we go. The Thing in the Depths, Side 1A. Take the ship. Setup, we're going to build the encounter deck using only the Stormcaller and Corsair Raider encounter sets. Then we're going to set the Thing in the Depths and the Stormcaller Elite, which is Nasia and Captain Sahir, aside. Out of play, enemy side face up. We're going to put the Thing in the Depths aside. Out of play, we're going to add the Helm of the Stormcaller and an Umbar Radar to the staging area. Radar? Raider. Okay, so there's the Thing in the Depths encounter set. We're setting that aside. An Umbar Raider is in the staging area. He's 2 threat, and he steals resources from you after he attacks. The Helm of the Stormcaller is a 2 threat, 1 progress, but it gains a progress for every resource on a Raider enemy in play. And when we travel there, we need to put Nasia and Captain Sahir in the staging area. And you remember these 2 yahoos, they're no fun. Side 1B, Captain Sahir and Nasia gain Indestructible, and then forced at the end of the round. If Captain Sahir and Nasia are not in play, we're going to add 1 resource to each of them, and we cannot place progress on this stage unless the Helm of the Stormcaller is in the victory display. And there has been an official ruling. You can clear the Helm and place the progress on the same turn. Okay, we're going to bring a Gondor Swarm. So we are going to have Leadership Boromir, 11 threat, 1 willpower, 3 attack, 2 defense, 5 hit points. Gondor Noble Warrior. Gondor allies get +1 attack while Boromir has a resource in his resource pool. A new hero that's going to help a Gondor Swarm is Leadership Denethor, 8 threat, 1/1/3/3. Gondor Noble Steward. Denethor starts the game with 2 extra resources in his resource pool. And then a limit once per round action, we can move 1 resource from his resource pool to another Gondor hero's resource pool. Very, very awesome. So there's his 2 resources. We're also going to make an Unholy Alliance of our own and have Aristor play with us today. So he's 10 threat, 2/2/2/4 lore, Noldor. We get to draw 3 additional cards at the beginning of the resource phase. And at the end of the round, we discard all cards from our hand. This is a very classic Gondor Swarm build, so I thought I would show it off. This is a great quest for it because my goal is to advance to the Helm of the Stormcaller on turn 1. But when I do that, that means Sahir and Nasia are going to be engaged with me. So I need to get a pretty big board state built up really fast. And so the Gondor Swarm is a great deck archetype to get a lot of allies on the table very quickly. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to get a turn 1 explosion of allies and advance to the Helm of the Stormcaller on turn 1. The longer you take to advance to the Helm, the more resources build up on Sahir and Nasia, and the worse they become. The good thing about an Aristor deck against this quest is you probably won't have any events in your hand, which is really important. You don't want any events in your hand when you engage Nasia. So hopefully we can pull off a really cool turn 1 here. I'm looking for resource acceleration. Gandalf could kill that Umbar Raider up in staging area. Ooh, Captain's Wisdom is a new card, so you exhaust a noble character in the resource phase to get 2 resources. 2 Wardens, there's Gandalf. 2 Captain's Wisdom, so I'm going to have to exhaust 2 different noble characters. This is not a great opening hand. I don't have a lot of cheap allies to get into play, but I thought you guys might enjoy seeing what even a subpar opening hand can do. So what I'm going to do is play this hand, and then I'm going to take a mulligan. But I just thought you'd like to see like 2 turn 1s with this deck. So let's do a fake turn 1 using this hand that I ultimately want to mulligan away. So everybody collects their resources. We draw our opening card plus 3 more thanks to Aristor. So let's see what we get. Okay, well, it actually turned around a little bit. 3 cheap allies, the Peligir Ship Captain, and Faramir. All right, well, that's not bad, and Daron's Runes is going to draw me stuff, but we're going to use the action window in the resource phase that happens after you draw your cards and collect your resources. And I'm going to play 2 Captain's Wisdoms, which cost 0. You exhaust a noble character for each one, and then each of those noble characters gets 2 resources. So that's a nice influx of resources I just got there. And then now let's play this Daron's Runes. So we're going to draw 2 cards. Again, we're going to play this in that same action window. Oh, wow. Okay, and then we actually got the Legacy of Numenor. So I'm going to discard the Warden of Healing. So now we're going to do Legacy of Numenor. So Doomed 4, and I'm going to collect additional resource in each of my heroes' resource pools. This actually ended up being a pretty good turn 1. You draw those extra 4 cards, and you can really get a great opening hand. So there you go. I got 12 resources to play with on turn 1, and my threat is 33. Okay, so 12 resources, but I am still missing some of the cards I really like to see in my opening hand. So we're going to spend Aristor's 2 resources to put in this Warden, and then we're going to spend 5 resources to put in Gandalf. He is going to do 4 damage to an enemy, and we're going to take care of that Umbar Raider up in staging. And then I still have 5 resources to play with. And this is where this hand isn't great, because I only can put in 2 more allies. So I do get Faramir in, and I do get this Aaron Rider. I mean, that's not bad, right? I mean, that's a nice turn 1. I got Gandalf in to help me with this first stage of probably he's going to defend Sahir. And then Faramir is going to be in for the rest of the game. I do lose all these at the end of the round. But not bad. That's not bad. But I said I was going to take a mulligan, so let's do it again. We're going to give the deck a shuffle, and then whatever this hand is, we're going to keep. But again, that hand wasn't bad. Let's see what we have here. All right, so we got the Veteran of Osgiliath. He costs 3. We got some card draw. The Envoy Pelargir is great. Daron's Runes is great. This helps me find my Legacy of Numenor. Oh, and then the Herald of Anorian with the Envoy of Pelargir. That's the combo I'm looking for on turn 1. And then some resource acceleration. Perfect! That's a really good opening hand. I already like most of those cards. The Veteran of Osgiliath I don't really need, but I have Daron's Runes, so I can just get rid of them. 4 more cards coming. There's my Citadel Custodian and another Herald of Anorian. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want to see on turn 1. Okay, so in the action window, after drawing my cards and getting my resources, I will exhaust Denethor and get 2 more resources. And then after thinking about it for a minute, I'm going to do Daron's Runes, and maybe I'll get Legacy of Numenor with that, and I don't need to use... Okay, I don't, but I get a second Envoy of Pelargir, which is really good. So there goes the Veteran of Osgiliath. Now I'm going to do the Seeing Stone. So Doomed 1, search my deck for a Doomed card. So the Doomed card I'm going to try to find... Well, I'm not going to try to find it. I know I'm going to find it. Is one of my 3 copies of Legacy of Numenor right there on the bottom of the deck. So after I play that, I'll be starting the game with 10 resources, which is really awesome. So I am going to have an awesome turn 1. So let's play this Legacy of Numenor. So Doomed 4, give 1 resource to each of your heroes' resource pools. So very nice. There we go. And then, let's start getting some allies in play. So the first combo that I like to pull off with this deck is to play a Herald of Anorian for 2, and then you can give him Doom 2, and he can put in an ally that costs 2 or less. So I'm going to do that. So there's Doom 2, and the ally we're going to put in is, of course, the Envoy of Pelargir, because when she enters play, she gives a resource to somebody. And then I can do it again. I can't believe I get to pull it off twice. That's pretty awesome. So we're going to do it twice in 1 turn, and the Envoy is going to keep kicking resources over to Boromir. So thank you very much. She gives a resource to a Gondor or noble hero. And then we're going to spend 4 resources to put in Faramir. So Faramir is coming into play. And then we still got lots of resources. So let's spend no resources and put in the Citadel Custodian, because he costs -1 for each Gondor ally in play, table-wide. So he was free. And then I can spend my last 2 leadership resources to put in this Pelargir ship captain, and he can move a resource when he enters play, but I think I'll leave the resources where they are. That's great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 allies in play. Really awesome. And then I love the Citadel Custodians because I also have a very good tail in this deck, so it's a perfect ally for that. All right, sending on the quest, we're just sending 5. We're up against 4, and we get a 2-threat location. Okay, that's really good, because if I had gotten an enemy, that would have really made it hard to advance on turn 1. But I'm actually not going to trigger Faramir because I needed to leave as many characters up as possible. So now we're going to travel to the helm of the Stormcaller, and Captain Sahir and Nahasiya are going to come into play. Nahasiya would make me discard all events from my hand, and she would get a resource for them. I don't have any events. But this Umbar Raider is coming down. Captain Sahir is attacking for 6. Yeah, this is, turn 1, it's kind of hard. All right, attacking enemy gets +2, so that was an attack of 5 against Boromir's 2 defense, so he took 3 damage. And then he steals a resource after an attack. I almost forgot that. So he's going to steal one of Aristor's resources. Now Nahasiya is attacking for 2. The Citadel Custodian can handle this. Oh, good lord. Okay, +1, +2 if the defending character has no resources. And that kills him, which sucks. I really wanted to keep him in play. That's all right. Okay, so this envoy is going to defend 6 against her 1. Okay, yeah, she's super dead. Captain Sahir tends to kill these envoys in my games. All right, and then we still have 2 characters ready. So I guess I could have used Faramir and not raised my threat by 1, but I didn't know what these shadows were going to make me do. Because Captain Sahir killed somebody, he gets 2 resources on him. I'm sorry, he gets 4 resources on him. So that means we have 5 resources on raider enemies, which means the Helm of the Stormcaller will take 6 progress to clear. And then I need to make 4 progress on the main quest. And that's my goal of this deck, is I want to be able to advance to stage 2 on turn 2. So let's see what I get in this next hand. Okay, god dang. Okay, I do get a very good tail, so that Custodian would have been perfect for this since he costs 5 and you have to exhaust allies for it and use their costs to put in more allies, but that's all right. Okay, Mablung coming in, and 2 1-cost Gondor allies. I think at this point it's just, play as many cards as you can. Just get the bodies on the table. So I'm not even going to worry about keeping a resource in Boromir's resource pool at this point. I just want to get bodies on the table. So okay, so let's put the right token on that Umbar Raider so I'm not confused. So yeah, I am up against 6 progress on the Helm and 4 on the main quest. And if I don't place this 10 progress that I need, I'm going to get attacked again by all these enemies and I'm pretty much dead. So that's my strategy, is just 2 turns where I try to build up a real quick Gondor army and advance to stage 2 on turn 2. So once I do all the math, including Faramir, let's add 1 more willpower. I gotta clear this. If I don't, like I said, my plan is pretty much ruined. So, okay, let's see what we reveal. And we reveal, that's nice. Okay, it's just a 1 threat location. Even if it was an enemy, as long as I could overquest it, I wouldn't have to deal with it. So we do clear the Helm. That goes into victory display. And the ruling is, once you clear the Helm, you can place the progress on the main quest. So I would have used Faramir, obviously, before I started placing progress. So we do clear quest stage 1B, and we get to advance to 2A, which is just amazing flavor text that basically says we get attacked by a giant sea monster, and we decide to put our differences aside and fight the common enemy. And then a lot going on here. Captain Sahir and Naasia become objective allies. We're going to add the Thing in the Depths to the staging area. We're going to remove the Corsair Raiders encounter set and replace it with the Thing in the Depths encounter set. Shuffle the encounter discard pile back in, and then we're going to advance to stage 3. All right, so it's time to form the Unholy Alliance. Captain Sahir is now an objective ally, 0025. The first player gains control of him. He gets +1 willpower and attack for each resource on him, max +6. Action, spend 1 resource from a hero you control to place 1 resource on Captain Sahir, limit once per round. If he leaves play, we're going to lose. And then Naasia is a 1/2/2/4, and she's got the same action where we can give her a resource, and then she can spend those resources to give her +2 attack or +2 defense for the attack. So what are we joining forces up against? It's a 50 engagement, 2/5, 0 defense, 8 hit points. The Thing in the Depths. It's a creature. It's immune. It cannot be engaged. It gets +3 hit points for each player. And then when a creature enemy is destroyed, we're going to deal damage to the Thing in the Depths equal to the destroyed enemy's threat. So the only way to kill this thing is to kill these creature enemies, which are tentacles, really. There's a couple that aren't, but now we are not fighting each other. We need to defend the ship. 3A. All right, when revealed, we're going to discard cards from the encounter deck until X tentacle enemies are discarded, where X is 1 more than the number of players in the game, and we're going to trigger the Grapple Keyword on each of those enemies. At the end of the round, if the total threat of any 1 ship location is 9 threat, then that location has been taken over by the Thing in the Depths, and we're going to lose. So we got to keep the threat off of these locations. So here's how the Grapple Keyword works. You're going to follow the text after it says grapple, and then you turn it face down and you attach the enemy to that location. And then every face down card attached to a location is +2 threat. So that's how you can add threat to these locations. And when you travel to a location, you detach the face down cards, and they are now in the staging area as enemies. So here's our first one. It says grapple the highest printed threat. So we have 2 locations in staging. So the one with the highest printed threat gets that one. This is one of the few enemies that aren't a tentacle, so that's good to get rid of that. Some treachery is going away. Another location going away. That's a great one to see go away. Ooh, okay, I think that's both copies. That was lucky. Okay, and then we also get this one. It's doesn't surge because we're discarding and then flipping it over. And it's to the highest printed quest points. So we have 2 locations, each of them being grappled by 1 enemy, so they each have +2 threat. And we can't let that threat ever hit 9 on a single location. And you might be thinking at this point, I have this quest in the bag, but let me tell you something. You can get swarmed by these tentacles. A lot of the shadows just basically make you have more enemies to deal with. So I am not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination against this quest. So I'm going to travel to the crew quarters, which lets me give each raider a resource, which is pretty amazing. And when this tentacle enemy is detached, it goes to the staging area, and it says it makes an immediate attack against me. So this one enemy is going to make 2 attacks. But first, let's do a search and find some good YouTube clips that I can insert during the combat phase for these attacks made by the... Obviously, this was a huge mistake. And I'm really worried about the shadows. The shadows are nasty. So this shadow says if it's undefended, resolve the grapple keyword. So that would put that enemy grappled to that one location in staging, which would ramp the threat up even more. But I defended it. The squire dies. He gives a resource to Boromir when he dies. And now I'm getting attacked proper. So it's 3 against 3. And this shadow says after this attack, we either need to have Giant Arm engaged with us and deal a shadow or resolve the grapple. So that's what I mean. You can just keep getting these tentacles just coming at you one after another after another. I'm going to do the grapple. So that now makes that location in staging a 6 threat location. So that's pretty close to 9. And now I'm going to try to swing back. I don't have much to swing back with because my characters were pretty much exhausted going into this so I could get to this stage. I don't know if I really played this quest solo before this series. I don't remember it being so hard. I think because we always had a willpower deck and a combat deck. So what I'm going to do is have Boromir kick a resource to Naasia. She can attack for a total of 6, which is enough to kill that thing, and we get to place 1 damage on the thing in the depths. 10 to go. All right, I am not going to use a very good tail after everybody readies before I have to discard it. I could have done that if Gandalf was in play. Gandalf would have readied and I could have used it, but I don't have Gandalf in play or anything. So let's draw my next 4 cards and see what we got. Ooh, 2 Citadel Custodians and another very good tail. Okay, redemption. I have been redeemed. I get to do a very good tail with Citadel Custodians. Okay, I think I will do that right now. And I was going to do both of them, but then I realized I really only can put in 7. I have like 1 ally that costs 3 in the deck that's left. So the most I would do is like a 5-cost Gandalf and then a 2-cost Gondor ally. That would be the most resources I would have to spend as far as cost for a very good tail. So I exhausted 7 resources worth of allies. We're giving the deck a shuffle, and now we're going to look at the top 5 cards, put in 2 allies that cost up to 7, and discard the rest. Okay. Okay. Well, I got rid of a lot of events. I got rid of one of my visionary leadership, which I really would like. But I did get a Gandalf, which is really good. So I'm going to drop my threat by 5. That makes it a lot less scary because my threat was starting to climb up there. But I am going to use the Aaron Rider, kick a resource over to Aristor. He has 2 lore resources, and he pops in that Warden of Healing. So now I just need to quest for enough to clear this active location. There's no progress to be made on the quest, so this is a great quest for side quests. In one of the videos I've made, someone asked in the comments about side quests and when is their text active, and it kind of depends. So if the quest is like Make Camp, where it says characters cannot be healed, that's always active. But there are some that say when this quest is the current quest, then the text becomes active. And when you pick a side quest as your current quest, it's in the quest phase, and then you quest against it. And then when the quest phase is done, that side quest is no longer current quest. It defaults back to the main quest, the actual scenario quest as the main quest. So if you had someone like Legolas who places progress when he destroys an enemy, even if you had chosen a side quest in the quest phase as your quest and you don't clear it, his progress would not go on it because you are no longer in the quest phase. All right, so a lot of talking there while I was committing characters to the quest. I'm going to use Faramir because we revealed a location that made it so I am not placing any progress. Faramir will use his action to give +1 willpower for every character I committed to the quest, giving me a nice boost. So I do clear the active location. Now, the location I revealed is the quarterdeck, which really sucks because it makes all enemies get an extra shadow card. So if I traveled there, I wouldn't have any enemies to worry about, which would be kind of nice, but I have Gandalf. So I feel like I should go to the cargo hold, and now we're going to get these two enemies, and they each have +1 defense, because that's what the cargo hold says. Giant Arm gets +2 attack when attacking allies, and Grasping Arm makes you exhaust somebody when it attacks. And they're attacking for 4 and 4 each, and so that one would be a 6 attack against an ally. So yeah, I mean, these tentacles are rough. Okay, so I do have Gandalf, so let's go 6 attack against 4 defense and +2 attack. So it kills Gandalf, so that's pretty powerful. Okay, and then this one's attacking for 4, and I got to exhaust somebody, so I'll exhaust the Warden. Denethor is 3 against 4. Okay, that's great. I'm glad we didn't reveal that. So Denethor is going to take a hit. And then once again, I do not have a lot of characters ready. I mean, even with this big board state, I am not attacking for a lot. That Visionary Leadership would be extremely helpful. So Naasia's going to grab a resource from Boromir. She's going to spend it. So she's attacking for 4. Boromir's attacking for 3. Each of these enemies have +1 defense. So that is enough to kill one of them. So let's get rid of I believe that one's the Grasping Arm. And we get 2 damage on the thing in the depths. Okay, so we have 3 of the 11 damage. We're still engaged with an enemy. And we're going to go into the next round. All right, so let's draw 4 cards. All right, we get 2 cheap allies. There's Steward. Okay, and Scout Ahead, which is really great. So let's just make that the quest card we're going to quest against. I finally draw one of my 2 copies of Steward. One of the disadvantages of playing with a single core set is I only get 2 of those. So it's going to go on Boromir, and then he's going to exhaust it and get 2 resources right back. Let's play an Envoy of Peligir using Aristor and Boromir's resource, and then she'll give a resource back. And then I think instead of keeping a resource with Boromir, I'm going to put another body on the table. This is going to lead to a strategic, I can't even say the word, a strategic mistake on my part, because I'm so used to him having a resource in his resource pool that I just assume all my Gondor allies are getting an attack boost. So you'll see later when I quest, I really wasn't paying attention to who I was exhausting. I was more concerned about, right now I'm exhausting characters to the quest, and I'm exhausting characters who don't have a defense value, because I know there's a shadow that punishes you if your character doesn't have a defense value. But I think it's that treachery I got rid of when I was discarding cards at the beginning of stage 3, so I might not even have had to worry about it. Anyway, big strategic mistake on my part here. You'll see why. So, okay, after committing to the quest and revealing another location, which is really nice because I didn't really want an enemy, I can exhaust Faramir and put enough progress on Scout Ahead to clear it. So now I get to look at the top 5 cards, add 1 card from the encounter deck to the victory display, and then put the other 4 in any order I want. So let's see what the next 5 cards would have been and how I want to handle this. Okay, we get an enemy. We get another location. We get another quarter deck. That sucks. Another enemy and another enemy. So you need to kill these things to win the game. So you can't just try to avoid enemies. And now I need to really, really figure this out. And I actually stopped recording for quite a while I tried to figure this out. So I'm going to put the quarter deck in the victory display. That one makes me discard an attachment. So I don't want that showing up as a shadow. And then I'm going to travel to the quarter deck that was in staging, and that's going to make me get 2 shadow cards. And I had to be really careful because 2 of the enemies had shadows that basically made them engage you, and it would have just... I really struggled figuring out how to do this. So I basically got rid of the enemy that had 3 threat, which I actually wanted to reveal, but I couldn't do it. There was no way for me to do it where this combat phase wasn't going to be absolutely insane. And then here you see my mistake. I don't have enough to kill this enemy. I needed to leave up characters that could attack. I just assumed Boromir had his resource, so everybody had one attack. And as you can see, I am one short. So pretty frustrated with myself with that strategic mistake. I screwed up big time. So to continue talking about those cards I looked at, 2 of them had shadows that made me resolve their grapple keyword or put them in play engaged with me. And because I was having 2 shadow cards if I went to the quarter deck, which it seemed like that was the best time to go there when I knew I could make the shadow cards whatever I wanted, I just didn't want all those enemies piling on that one location and staging, or basically all engaging me, and then I wouldn't know what any shadows were going to be. Even though the shadows were only doubled up at the beginning of combat phase, it just seemed like the smart move was to only have 2 shadows that I knew I could handle, and then let the next enemy come out as a grapple. Alright, so you saw what I drew there, and I played a Daron's Runes, so I'm going to get 2 more low-cost allies in play. It's so nice having Steward, so I'm actually generating more resources every round, so I should be able to kick resources over to Naasea or Captain Sahir and keep one in Boromir's resource pool. So I do have a army on the table, and I'm only engaged with 1 enemy, so things are looking good. I have not gotten swarmed by shadow cards, which definitely happened to me when I was playing this deck to prepare for this video. I would just get a shadow that says resolve the grapple keyword or put it in play engaged with you, and I wouldn't have a location and staging, so I had to put it in play engaged with me, and then that shadow would be the same one, and then all of a sudden I'm getting attacked by 3 enemies. There's also a shadow that makes the thing in the depths attack you, and I really struggled. I mean, I couldn't keep allies coming in fast enough. So so far so good. Okay, so we knew we were revealing this, so it's only able to attach to 1 location, so it is going to go there. We make enough progress to clear the active location, and so we can travel. So now all enemies, I believe, get +1 defense. So we're engaged with 2 enemies, and we know one of them is a shadow that is going to make us have to engage it, so that's no fun. But it was the only way I could arrange those cards. I really wasn't too thrilled with the cards I found. I realized, man, my next turns are going to be pretty rough. So let's go 3 against this, and this shadow is assign damage equal to the number of things that are grappled up in staging. Okay, so that's none. So I take 1 damage there. It was 4 against 3. I'm going to use the Warden and do some healing. And then I know this shadow is going to make me get another enemy. So I know Naasea will be able to defend for 4 and not take any damage. And then we get a giant arm, which gets +2 when attacking an ally. And the shadow was either resolve the grapple keyword or put it in play engage with you. But I knew that was happening. So I knew we were going to get a 3rd enemy. So I'm just going to chump. I don't know what this is. Attacking enemy gets +2 attack. Okay. So yeah, shadows. Really nasty. So losing allies as fast as I put them in. So that's why you front load all your allies as much as you can and then try to kill these things. Okay, each of these enemies is +1 defense, so we can kill the one that I should have been able to kill last round, but I screwed up. So now Boromir attacking for 3, and there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gotta love that 1 resource in his resource pool. That's why I was so bummed I didn't realize that. All right, there's 1, 2, 3. She's got an attack, so 4, 5. So we can do quite a bit of damage to this one. And that was pretty good. It was good to get rid of at least 2 of the enemies. And yeah, we don't know what we're going to be up against. So let's do some rearranging. And we are going to go into the next round with a really nice board state. And hopefully we're going to be able to get out of this situation pretty quick. Okay, discarding those 2 cards. I do not need to do Legacy of Numenor. Oh, but I do see a Gandalf peeking out back there. So maybe I will do Legacy of Numenor, because Gandalf can just drop my threat right back down. So yeah, if I hadn't drawn Gandalf, I think I would have been a little more hesitant, because I really wouldn't have had much to spend the resources on. But I can basically drop my threat by 4, give everybody an extra resource, and then I can just put Gandalf into play and actually drop my threat by 5. So it ends up letting me play more allies and having resources to give to Naasea and Sahir. So I think that's the right move. Plus I have Gandalf in play. I have 1 enemy engaged with me. I have a Pelagear ship captain I won't be able to use, but that's okay. So now I'm ready to reveal enemies. I think my board state is set where I can just reveal enemies nonstop and engage and kill them as fast as possible. So let's just send enough on the quest to clear that active location. And we're going to try to get out of here. I think I've overcome the hump of this quest. You know, it's a hard quest because at the beginning you can't stall forever because Sahir and Nasia are just terrible. And then if you rush it, though, you start getting attacked by all these tentacles. So it's a very tough quest solo. I think in 2-player you can really have some fun with it, but in solo it's a lot. All right, no enemy as you saw, so we are going to get attacked. Gandalf will defend. And this says, after this attack, the thing in the depths makes an attack against you. And that guy's being drawn and quartered there in that art. That's pretty horrifying. So Gandalf survives. Now we're getting attacked by the thing in the depths. He's going to attack for 5. So I'm going to give a resource to Nahasia. And I think she could survive no matter what. So I will spend it. So she's defending for 4 against 5. And we get, if this was undefended, resolve the grapple keyword. So don't do undefended attacks unless you want more enemies to come down. Because, maybe you do. So she survives that attack. The warden heals the damage off of her. We kill the enemy that we're engaged with. And now we are very close. We are at 6 damage out of the 11. So we just have to hope we find enemies, which isn't hard. There's so many enemies in this encounter set. You should be revealing them. So let's just quickly go to the next round. Almost through my entire deck. And I get, there's a Gandalf, there's a Daron's Runes, and there's a Visionary Leadership. But I don't even need it at this point. So let's just spend all the money on Gandalf, and we will drop my threat way down. So I no longer am worried about threating out. This is just in case I don't reveal any enemies, and I just basically am stuck in a limbo state waiting for enemies to show up. You could, in theory, threat out while you're waiting for the tentacles to pop back out of the water. So now that my threat is super low, I think we got this one in the bag. I'm not sure what would be the worst thing that could happen. I really do feel like we have survived the hardest thing this quest could throw at me. And, okay, I'm glad to see that. And it surges. So it surges into, hey, another enemy. Ooh, and it's the 1 of 3 threat. So that's nice. So no locations and staging, so they do not grapple to anything. And we are going to need to use Faramir if we want to clear that thing, but I guess it doesn't matter if we clear it, right? We don't have a location to travel to. So let's grab these enemies. One thing I don't think I mentioned is you can travel to a location if there's already one active and you swap it with the location that was active. Like you're running all over the ship killing these tentacles, so pretty cool. All right, after this attack, the thing in the depths attacks you. So, yep, that's fun. But there's no shadow, so I know it's just attacking for 5. So we will just chump it. Nothing's going to happen that I don't want with this big attack. So let's chump again. Okay, that is no shadow. So he's dead. So as fast as the allies come into play, they're leaving. And then let's see how much we can attack for. So the wardens even get to attack because Boromir has a resource. Trying to math it out perfectly. So we get rid of that guy. We're going to add the damage to the thing in the depths. So that's 3. And then we definitely have enough attack back because Gandalf is still ready. So let's swing back with all of our characters. We don't even need the last one. And we're at 10 out of 11. So we almost did it. Now we're going to need to go into one more round. Well, hopefully one more round. It could be 5 or 6 rounds if we're incredibly unlucky with what we're revealing. So let's quickly go to the next round. Hopefully it's our last. If it isn't, I'll be playing these rounds very quickly so we can just get the wind here. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. This deck is really fun to take up against this quest. It's really fun just to do turn 1s with this deck. Just do a turn 1, shuffle, and do it again. It's fun to see what you can do on your turn 1. All right, 3 resources worth of allies coming in. I think I have 1 card, maybe 2 left in my deck. And we got to give the encounter deck a quick shuffle. And assuming we get an enemy, we'll be able to engage it and kill it. And that will be a victory. So let's just see if we get lucky. So committing characters to the quest doesn't really matter how many because we're not in any harm of threading out. I'm going to kick a resource over to Captain Sahir, so he's questing for 2. We're only up against 2. And we do get an enemy. Okay, it's that 3-threader again. So glad to see that. We do clear the active location. And now we are engaged with this guy. And let's have... Oh, I don't know. Who should defend this sucker? Nasia will defend it using Boromir's resource to boost her attack. And it's assigned damage equal to the number of grappled stuff up in staging. So that's nothing. She takes a hit. And then let's swing back with the Wimps. So we got the Wardens, Denethor. I throw the wrong resource token on Boromir. But as you can see, plenty of attack power left. So that is enough to take down the thing in the depths, and we have a victory there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a real tough one solo, but a lot of fun multiplayer. So hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.